Rita Hubbard-Robinson is the CEO of NeuWater and Associates, LLC, and has been committed to the improvement of health and social determinants of health for over 30 years. Currently under contract with the African American Health Equity Task Force, she is building the infrastructure of the newly formed community-based Buffalo Center for Health Equity. She is also one of 4 associate directors of the recently launched UB Community Health Equity Research Institute. She's a pioneer in efforts to bring health equity strategies to the city of Buffalo through several important partnerships and collaborations with healthcare, national and local foundations, and government. She is the host of Millennial Health Matters radio show, lead planner of the Healthy Corner Store Initiative, and visionary and developer of Project Rainfall, a food system social enterprise. Rita had served in the position of Director of Institutional Advancement at ECMC, Lifeline Foundation. She was the organizer of the Farmers Market at Grider, a community outreach initiative focused on making fresh produce available to the community. She served as the first Great Lakes Health System of Western New York's community outreach team member for ECMC. With her many years of experience in administration, Rita has worked to develop various partnerships and programs that have enhanced community services in the Buffalo area. Committed to community health and development, Rita Hubbard-Robinson has been the co-chair of Let's Get Moving Health Symposium, charged with educating the community about health, nutrition, and fitness. She's the chairperson of the Hamlin Park Community and Taxpayers Association Marketing Committee, focused on community development and homeowner advocacy. As a consultant for nonprofit groups and as a diversity trainer, she has facilitated workshops for organizations in transition and for those developing a healthy work environment. She has received numerous awards throughout her career, way too many to mention. So I'll just, one of the recent ones she received was the 29th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Award for Community Service. She's also received awards from so many places I can't begin to read all of them, but she was a recipient of the City of Buffalo Black History Month Certificate of Achievement in Healthcare. She was Martin Luther King Award for Social Justice, Professional Award from Anton Thompson, the Buffalo chapter of National Association of Negro Business Professional Women's Clubs, and the 2000 Executive of the Year for the YWCA of Western New York. She also is a graduate of Leadership Buffalo class of 2009.
Best class ever.
This year is the longest class ever. That's what we named them. An advocate for both communities and youth, Rita Hubbard-Robinson of NeuWater and Associates earned her Juris Doctorate from UB Law School and Jurisprudence and attended the University of Binghamton as an undergrad. She's the wife of over 30 years to Mark and the mother of 2 sons, Jason and Jorney. 2 children, Jason and Jorney.
Althea, I just have to say, because my darling daughter would not forgive me, her name is Jorney. Jorney, yes. Well, my beautiful children, I would say would be my greatest accomplishment, and certainly being married for nearly 34 years would be the secondary biggest accomplishment that I can offer, neither of which are easy to accomplish. And, I have so many friends that started out married and now are single, and they ask, well, how do you do it? And I say, well, a lot of prayer. So that would be my short, quick answer, but really, honestly, from my heart, those would be my greatest accomplishments. Thank you so much, Althea, for this honor. I wanted to really thank Kelly Showard, who is a colleague of mine who nominated me for this award. I'd like to thank the Leadership Buffalo team that selected the honorees for this prestigious award. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the Inclusion Award. And I have to say that I really grappled with the idea of receiving an award for inclusion. Inclusion feels to me like an important aspect of that would be exclusion, right? So, historically, we have had the history of slavery in this country. We've had the issue of Jim Crow, the issue of civil rights movement, gentrification more recently, and the idea that of inclusion means that we're being let in to the society. And I would like to challenge the concept of inclusion and talk a little bit about equity and really what that means. Because really what I really have dedicated my work and my life to is the idea that we want to bring equity to a community and to communities that have been left out, not just to have a seat at the table, but to have an equal footing, to be able to ascribe their experiences, their culture, their knowledge at a table and be received at that same table with dignity, with respect. I think that, receiving this award is important. I think it's important to, for all of us to be together and to set forth our beliefs, our values. But really, the idea that we are all in this together and that we really must lift the people, the experiences, the traumas that individuals have gone through, and figure out ways to improve the health of the community through dealing with issues around race, dealing with issues around segregation, and dealing with issues that are really basically killing people, something that the pandemic really has brought to light. Well, I'm a Queens girl. I'm originally from Queens, New York. And one of the things that struck me when I came to Buffalo in the late 70s was, I know I look young, but it was the late 70s when I came. And I thought of Buffalo really as a huge Queens. It's very similar in my mind to the architecture, to the way the housing structure is sort of laid out, to the downtown area. At the time, there really was a downtown. This is before the rapid rail system that we have now. And I thought, oh, this is visually, this is a great city. Then I got to go to school here. I obtained my JD in 86, and I had the opportunity to leave or to stay. And I got married in 86. But the people of the city of Buffalo, coining the phrase, the city of good neighbors, I think is very true. The people are warm. I think being in a cold climate makes the necessity of people being warm. I do like 4 seasons. I'd like a little bit more spring and fall, but I really do like the 4 seasons of the year. And I have to tell you, Buffalo has the best summers. Out of anywhere I've been in the summertime, Buffalo really has a lot to offer: activities, fun, and the temperature is always great. And when it's not, you can always go to the water. So these are the reasons why I love Buffalo so much. I do love the summers. I have opportunity to be in other cities and in the summertime, and I would never take a vacation elsewhere in the summer. I love the architecture. We've got some of the most beautiful architecture. I love our proximity to Canada. I love to be able to visit another country that's just 30 minutes away. I hear from my house pretty much anywhere in the world. The airport is easy to get to. It's not as transportation friendly as it will be, but I think you can get anywhere in 20 minutes if you have a car, and that makes it really one of the better places nationally to be and to travel in. Well, I would go back 100 years to the women, African-American women, that I cherish in my heart and look to when I get tired or I get dismayed. I think about Mary B. Talbert. She lived from 1866 to 1923. She was an orator, an activist, a suffragist, and a reformer. I also think about Mary McLeod Bethune, and she was an educator, a stateswoman, a philanthropist, a humanitarian, a womanist, and a civil rights worker. She was a civil rights activist. And she lived between the years 1875 and 1955. And what these women did against the odds, you think about the women's movement. This all transpired during their lifetime. You think about the African American struggle in this country, and these women pushed against and worked and really created the opportunities for a person like me to be who I am in America today. And I jotted down a quote from Mary B. Talbert, and she said, "No Negro woman can afford to be an indifferent spectator of the social, moral, religious, economic circumstances that are around her." And 100 years later, as an African American woman, I could repeat every word that she said. So I don't need to look very far to see that we need change. We need structural, systemic change in our city, in our country, in our world. Because 100 years ago, Black women were saying the same thing. They were working on the same issues that we're working on today. Women and the opportunity to get a decent wage, a fair wage, the work that women do compared to the work that men do. I was talking to a colleague recently about what women have to do to be successful. You mentioned my vita, my bio, and how much I've done to accomplish the things that I'm being rewarded for today in this setting. I think that it's really important for us to take reflective time to look 100 years ago and see really where we are, because really there's been no greater leader than those that represented these same issues 100 years ago. So while there are local leaders that are, still pushing forward, these are women that against every odd, as a woman, as a Black woman, as a woman who was defining what Black womanhood really was, what really was or really is. I find great comfort in looking to them for my inspiration.
Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot, that, we can put, I grew up in the 50s and 60s and, the racial riots, and I was kind of yelling at the TV a while ago saying, why are we still doing this? Like, we can put people in outer space and on the moon, and we can pivot to be working at home and all of this stuff we're doing in 2 weeks with COVID, but we can't fix this. And exactly for 100 years more that we're having the same challenges, and it does have to change. And I feel hope now that things are going, because I think we're all in this together, and it's not just Black women fighting for things, it's everybody fighting together to have equality and equal justice for everybody. So at least I am. So I'm with you.
On that note, I would lift young people right now. I think for me, in terms of who locally, who nationally, I look to as my leaders, I'm looking at the young people that are in the street right now, who are pushing, who have looked at the future and said, this cannot continue. What we're doing now cannot continue. And it is a reflection of perhaps things that we could have done that we didn't do. But if you think about every movement, from the civil rights movement to the Vietnam movement to the South Africa movement, to really, everything that inclusion in my mind represents, the young people are the beacon to what can be and what should be in this country. So yeah, I love my elders and the foundation that they have provided us. But these young people right now, to me, are the leaders that we need in this time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also see a lot of young white faces out there fighting.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That's what makes it, to me, very strong. We are in this together. But as an African American woman, I know that it's because of the hard work of Black people in this country to stand up for social justice. The women's movement came out of that. The right to vote came out of that. And so we want to always reflect on the root of our success so that we can build on that success. And that's what these young people, they get it. White kids, black kids that are not from this country, Asian kids, all kinds of young people who get it, who have been working for 20 years in this space. And as a senior, I can't believe it, as a senior person in this country, I have to say my hat's off to them. And what I can do is I can follow them. Well, going back to the root of our successes, I mentioned slavery. I think that understanding that this country was really built on the backs of Black people and Black people who were chattel, who were currency, so that we could create great institutions like banks and government. I think that that's really important, that we understand the history, the true history of our country. There's been a lot of miseducation around the country. The books that have been written, the primers that we studied as kids really did not set forth the truth about our history. So it's made our current, our current situation so difficult because people don't believe what actually has been the truth. And so you're really understanding, maybe more book clubs, ways to understand really what our truth is as a country, as a local, as a city. We champion the turn of the century. We champion the City of Light. We champion the first Pan American events. But where were we all placed in that moment?
Yeah.
And I think that when we understand that better as a people, and I know Leadership Buffalo works to really understand community. When we really understand community, I think we can then look at the systems and structures, the neighborhoods that are disenfranchised in a different way, not as those people who won't get a job or who are lazy but we haven't really grappled with the redlining that occurred in this country that has set neighborhoods in such a disenfranchised position so that they are some of the most unhealthy communities in the state and in the country. So that's what I see as some of the most important things that we need. We need to get to the root and then build from there.
Summer or winter?
Oh, I'm a summer girl. I love the summer, yes.
Me too.
But let me say this about winter. What's great about winter in Buffalo is that we know what to do in the winter besides we have activities, we have ice skating, we have winter fests, we have all kinds of wonderful things in the winter. So I don't hate winter, I just love summer more.
And what did our former mayor say? Get a six-pack and just stay home. Like, okay.
We could do better than that.
He's Jimmy Griffin, right?
I remember that.
Buffalo Bills or Sabres?
The Bills.
Blue cheese or ranch dressing?
Being a vegan, I don't eat either. Okay. But when I did, I love cheese, so I would go with blue cheese.
Okay, good. That's a Buffalo answer. Canal Side or Riverworks?
Oh, I happen to have fallen in love with the light show at Canal Side. I love Canal Side.
Yeah, everybody's has struggled on that one. Hurdle Avenue or Elmwood Avenue?
I love Elmwood, although my husband's family's from that Hurdle area. They probably wouldn't like the answer, but I do love Elmwood.
A Turkey Trot or Buffalo Marathon?
The trot is hysterical. It's the trot. And you need to get out there and move before you start eating all that turkey.
That's right. Work the pounds before you put them on.
Correct.
The Dingus Day Parade or St. Patty's Day Parade?
Oh, well, the St. Patty's Day Parade, to my Polish friends, I'm all into, the pussy willows and the kisses, but I do probably prefer the St. Patty's Day and over both of those Juneteenth.
Oh, yeah. And also too, the Patty's Day parade, the real parade in the old First Ward. That's the even better. Yeah. So chicken wings, flats or drumsticks?
Flats. You gotta eat the flats, you know. Again, I'm vegan, but if I were, yeah, you gotta break that bone apart. You know, that's everything.
Resurgence or Big Ditch?
I'm not a huge beer drinker, so I really don't want to talk against one or the other. D comes before R. We'll go with Big Ditch.
Okay. North Towns or South Towns?
North Towns.
Okay. And finally, final one, spaghetti parm or beef on weck?
Spaghetti, when I ate it, spaghetti parm is the bomb.
If you try to use that term parm anywhere else in the country, they look at you like you've lost your mind. So, yeah. So that's all the questions. But Rita, I just want to give you an opportunity to say whatever you want, and please accept this award on our behalf. I'd like to be able to hand it to you, and hopefully I'll see you one of these days. It is coming by mail to your home. But if you want to say a few words just to close out our interview.
Thank you so much, Althea. Also to, again, as I said earlier, Kelly Showard for her nomination. I'd also like to thank the committee that chose me out of all of those who were actually nominated for this category. I'm humbled, actually, for even being considered. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Again, I really struggled with the idea that maybe it's time to think about equity and not just including, because people check boxes and they say, oh, well, we have some of these and some of those, and often they're at the bottom of the rung and they have no voice. But we really do need to hear all of the voices at this time, especially at this time when you know, my work is really focused on social determinants of health and population health. And when I look at the data and I see whole communities that are suffering from diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, asthma, and other morbidities, my heart is just, I don't understand. I have to say, when I started in this work, it was as a result of working at Erie County Medical Center and seeing young, vibrant, otherwise vibrant African-American men with the loss of limbs, of legs, of arms. And I said to myself, what's going on? Something's not right. What's happening? So I challenged myself to really dig down and look at the data, look at the work, look at what's going on. These are neighborhoods structurally that have some of the poorest housing, that have have no supermarkets. I say this to people and they say, oh, you have a supermarket on Jefferson Avenue. That one supermarket in no way, one of the smallest, if not the smallest supermarkets, in no way can provide food for the entire east side of Buffalo. And when you look at the number of supermarkets that exist in Buffalo, really most of them are outside of Buffalo. So in communities that have struggled with transportation, education, employment, crime, again, in answer to one of your other questions about root causes and really what has happened in order to change these things, a farmer's market. And I work very hard at the farmer's market at Erie County Medical Center to get it established and to provide a source of food for community. That's not enough. We can't just provide bags of groceries to people. We have to, allow people to have dignity. They can't have dignity by receiving charity. And then even when we provide charity, we often think, oh, because they have nothing, they can have this or that. But really, what will be the kind of charity that will improve the health of community? So more than charity, what are the structural, systemic issues that need to be addressed in our city, in our country, that will actually create the kind of vibrant economy that we all deserve? We know that when when you raise this type of a ship, all the ships rise. You can't just put water under one ship. You got to put it in and all the ships will rise. But more than equality, we're talking about equity, which means that if you have a hot dog and I do not have a hot dog, we don't both get a hot dog. I get a hot dog so that we both have hot dogs. So if it were equality, we would both get one because we both should have one. And now you have two and I have one. So it's more than inclusion. We really have to look at the social structures. We really have to look at the systems. And we have to, for my white sister here that I'm talking to, and all of you who might be listening, we are all in this together. There's a term called anti-racism. And what it means, it's more than I'm a non-racist, I'm not a racist. It means that when I see or experience racial inequities, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to be, as the kids say, I'm going to be about it. I'm going to be in it, right? So we want to encourage this notion of equity. We want to encourage the concept of we're in it together, not exclusion and inclusion. We are in it together. We are all human. We quoting from Mary Burnett Talbert once again. She said, "The greatness of nations is shown by the strict regard for human rights, rigid enforcement of the law without bias, and administration of the affairs of life." And if she said this 100 years ago, if we could just do that, we would have answered the inclusion call, we would have answered the equity call, and we would all be anti-racists. Thank you again for this award. Thank you for including me in the wonderful panel of awardees this year. I'm humbled. Thank you, Althea. Thank you to your team who had themselves inside to figure out how this year was going to work with this award. And I am grateful to be a part of the Leadership Below family. And just want to say for all of those who weren't aware, 2009 was the best class ever. Thank you so much.